My shop is a dusty mess. I have kind of a dust collection system, but it's pretty non-functional. There's a bunch of dirty hoses on the floor from it. There are no bags, no filters, nothing like that, just a blower that blows things right out the window. What little dust it collects isn't enough to get my shop clean, but it is enough to make a mess outside as well as in my shop. So, the solution is the Grizzly G0860 portable cyclone dust collector. Comes in box 1 of 3, and box 2 of 3, and then there's box 3 of 3, as well as box 2 of 5, 4 of 5, and 5 of 5. Well, the shipping company actually sent me my 3 boxes plus 3 of somebody else's boxes, so the 3 boxes that aren't mine are going back outside to get picked up by the shipping company. This is not a full build video, but I'm going to pass along a few tips. Tip number 1, the legs go on pretty early in the build process, and there's a right and a left and a front and a back, and you have to get them right. So look very carefully at the instructions. I did, and despite looking very carefully at the instructions, I managed to put them on 180 degrees backwards, which I learned about 95% into the build. So here I am trying to fix it without taking the whole thing apart. Unbolt some bolts, hold it up, just doing one side at a time here so it stays together, carefully nudging it around, pull it back in, get it all lined up. Maybe I could reach up with a size 13 boot and get it nudged into place. There we go. A lot of the assembly involves bolting on parts that hang down from the top of the unit. Those are hard to line up, so I used a clamp just loosely to put them in place, not to clamp them down, so you can wiggle them around, but they don't fall down while you're trying to find the hole to place the first bolt. The hardware has a little quirk. So there's a bunch of bolts that are 5/16 by 18 thread, and I checked them. They are imperial threads, 5/16 threads. But a 1/2-inch wrench is too loose. It works, but it's loose. A 7/16, I'm about to show here, is too small. What fits perfectly on there is a 12mm wrench. So that's, it's odd. It's an imperial thread, but a metric head size. And of course, you know, you'll want to use a socket for a lot of these things. That's a 12mm as well. I think there was one kind of low quality part on the Grizzly. The last step in the assembly is you put in the inlet adapter, and that's the Y adapter that holds 2 hoses onto it. It holds on with one kind of really small screw, and that small screw just strips right out of the sheet metal. It's just not strong at all. I replaced it, the Grizzly screws on the right, I replaced it with 3 screws of the size you see on the left. I put one on the bottom where the Grizzly one was, and then 2 closer to the top. I think that's really necessary to hold that adapter on. The remote didn't come with a chain. I added a chain. I'm probably still going to lose it. It's hanging on the machine, so maybe I'll lose it a little later. And when I'm in the shop, I can wear it as shop bling. Assembly is complete. It's plugged into a dedicated 20-amp circuit. You have to have that. If you have anything else plugged into the same circuit, like a cordless drill charger, for example, you'll blow circuits. If it's just on its own 20-amp circuit, you ought to be okay. The manual says you also have to have it hooked up to tools, the vacuum hoses on tools, or it pulls too much power and will blow circuits. I've got 2 hoses coming out. One goes to the table saw, that's the shorter one. The longer one gets moved around from tool to tool depending on what I'm working on at the time. So there's a little cap on the end of the long hose. That's what happens when the power gets turned on. That long hose contracts kind of has a life of its own, and when the power gets turned off, it lets loose, and unfortunately the little cap drops someplace like under the table saw. Well, I sucked you into this video by asking if the Grizzly was a good value. This is what I paid for it. Shipping's another couple $100, and taxes or whatever they are in your state. There are other dust collectors that look very similar, 110 voltage, horse and a half. Here's one from Jet. It's a few $100s more, but it looks kind of the same. Oneida's got one. It's another couple hundred more than the Jet even. Again, looks kind of the same. A portable 110 volt with a cyclone and all that. And then you can step up even further and get a Laguna. If you want to go even higher than that, if you get these things with HEPA filters, they're going to be even higher. I think all of those look pretty similar. Without doing a side-by-side test, I don't know which one's better. I have no idea of knowing that. I'm satisfied with the Grizzly. The only thing I really didn't like on the assembly was, that kind of chintzy screw that held on the hose adapter. But other than that, I think it's a good unit, a good product, and I think it's going to work fine in my shop once I fix that little problem. Thanks very much to those of you who made it this far in the video. I appreciate that. Please give me a like, hit the subscribe button. There'll be more videos coming out, hopefully about once a week. It's Workshop Improvement of the Week. And not just dust collection, but there is going to be more dust collection in the next few weeks. So thanks very much for watching. Hope to see you on future videos. Thanks very much. Bye.